Hello, this is Ross D20 Studios, here to show off the Abalon Map Editor that I've made available for folks who are interested in helping us to create new PvP maps for Abalon Arena. So the very first thing that's going to happen is after you download the zip file and unzip it, you're going to launch the application, and then you're going to notice this little thing at the bottom here that says copy the maps.db to the folder location here. This is where the save file for the map is. So you just go ahead and grab that maps.db file in your folder, copy the URL here, go ahead and paste it in there, close the app, relaunch it. And if you did it successfully, you will now see a maps definitions here. You can now click on that, and this will load a list of all the maps I provided so far by default. These are all of the current multiplayer maps in Abalon Arena. And you can flip through them pretty easily by just doing this, using the keypad, and see different things here. All right, so let's talk about some of the different things and how to use the map editor here. So the very first thing, as you'd expect, it's a lot similar to other map editors, like if you're familiar with a StarCraft or Warcraft editor. You can create a new map, and probably the first thing you want to do is pick one of the sizes. All of the sizes except for the large 2v2 are going to be always the same grid size. They'll all be 9x13 grids, but they'll have a different area that you can control where the border is based on the size of small, medium, or large. What's cool about that is that you can design the map and have it actually work for different sizes. So let's go ahead and do something here real quick. We're going to change the background default to the grass tile, and then I'm going to hit change size. Another way to refresh that is you can also just use the clear. We'll also change the background tile. Okay, so we got it set to grass, and you can see here with the map set as small, it has the grid set for the standard 5x8 small size. If you change it to medium, it uses the same map, but it gets a little bigger, and large, the boundaries. So effectively what that's doing is it's changing the playable area. And you can preview what that looks like in the actual game when it's displayed here. And you can change the orientation. So if you want to see what it looks like on desktop, there's your UI space, there's your panels on the right, and that's essentially what the game will look like. All right, so we're gonna go back to portrait because it's a little easier to edit there. Now you can, of course, if you want to be able to see and edit in here, you can use the mask palette to overlap the palette here. But it's easiest probably just to develop in portrait mode here. Okay, so we can just call this my new map and hit save. There we go. And now we're ready to rock. All right, so the very first tool, this paint palette here is designed for manipulating existing tiles to create different colors. So for example, when we create our swamp grass, we might apply this green tint here to kind of make it look more, swampy, I guess. And you can do that with different types of terrain to get the same kind of effect here. Apply green, there's all kinds of different combinations here that are in this palette to control how that looks. We can undo all that too, go back to the clean grass palette. Okay, so painting is pretty straightforward. Any of the different tile terrains, there's just a simple palette here that tells you what it is: dirt, cripstone, walls, etc. And you just take and paint a little path there, and there you go. One thing to keep in mind is that this will auto-generate an extra border. So if it goes outside the boundaries of the play area and you have it in preview mode, it's going to generate that. So you can turn that off, and that'll show you what the actual size the map you're generating is here. Okay, so then we can draw a little road, maybe put some trees in there, etc. And, that looks pretty good. Now, when you're ready to test your map, you just save it and then hit test. And there's some pre-configured teams here. You just pick which team configuration you want to start with and then hit start game. And this will fire up a game of Abalon. You can check things out like your line of sight, the starting zones. Now you'll notice that I didn't place any start zones, and somehow they magically all spawn here. And what that's doing is using just the simple default spawn location for like adventures and stuff like that. So the player characters will always start at the bottom. The AI will always start in a randomized zone up here. So if we want to control where the units start, we go to the Units tab, and we can just start placing some spawn points. So maybe I want to have one guy start here, here, and there, and maybe have the enemy start, I don't know, like all over here somewhere. Just as an example. And then you can rotate them to face, typically I have them all face the center point there, so they look like they're kind of ready for battle, but you can configure it however you want. Then we just get to find which team is which. green usually goes to the bottom, but if you put green at the top, it'll automatically flip it so that the team you play as is always at the bottom when you start the game. Oh, let's make this guy red. And then, of course, we do want to have some summoners in here. So to do that, we just click the hero, and we'll just make those our heroes. And then again, we should be able to just test that, start game, and there they are. And so now you can go ahead and play the game here to test to make sure the balance of the map looks right. And that's how that works. So we can hit save there. All right, so pretty basic there. Obviously, there's lots of little, terrain, destructible environment pieces, furniture you can place, wall blocks you can place, things like that. And the decorations to make the map look more interesting, like some grass and, maybe some, I don't know, cobwebs or something. Whatever you want to put in there. Okay, so that's how you basically edit the map itself. And then we've got some additional things here in the effects tab. This is like to get really fancy here. This has got, if you want to create little light beams, this has a list of all the particles currently in the game. We probably want to just limit this to just God rays for now. Don't try to put in weird stuff. There's a couple other might working here, like the jungle particles and stuff, but I wouldn't get too crazy with placing those. That's not the right one. Is it yellow? That's the one. Yeah, here's our standard God ray thing. And you can kind of just place those, and you can hit this button here to hide it. So if you want to preview how it actually looks, now you've got some cool sun rays in there. Hit save. This also controls the light map. So typically you want this at radial, and I think I usually put this at 0.4. I should probably make that the default, but what that does is creates a little vignette, and you can kind of see that if I make it really dark, it just sort of creates a vignette around the center here. For outdoor areas, 0.4 is usually pretty good. You don't need to mess with light map tile. That's probably a deprecated feature there. And then you can change also the weather too. If you want to make it like this is a rainy map here. And that'll actually override other settings from that and hide out the particles, so we can make it a rainy map too. Okay, and just do that as the default, or none, I guess could be fine. All right, and that's how you control the effects. Okay, so there's one more advanced feature, and that is if you want to create what's called the high ground. And I have an example of that. Oh, I didn't save my map. Yeah, go back. Save. Okay, so we go to high ground. In order to create the line of sight necessary for this, well, first off, you're going to have to create the terrain itself. And the way you do that is, in fact, let's make some high ground here to demonstrate it. We just create a cave around it to make it look like the ground is raised. So we just do that, oop, get over there. Okay, and I gotta figure out which pieces go where. There we go. So you just kind of have to puzzle piece in there. It doesn't have a very super intelligent algorithm. It's pretty basic right now, but there you go. All right, so now we got this thing here, but it looks kind of funky, and it also doesn't necessarily work the way we want it to in terms of gameplay. Oh, let's put a staircase going up there too. Oh, that one. Yeah, if you want to pick a particular variation after you select an object, if you want to have it oriented a certain way, you pick the variant at the bottom. Okay, so now when we test this, I believe it will block the line of sight for that. But what it won't do is, if I get up there, oh, here, actually you can see it. So if I'm standing up here, I should be able to see everything because I'm on the tall ground, but it's not showing me that. And the reason is we have to also define the pathing for this. And you'll see in my high ground example, you have to use the show paths in here, and you'll see I've got these little patterns that define where the high ground's at. And to define high ground, you got to use the high ground paint, and then you have to define the sunken ground with the pink one here. So if I go back to my new map and do sunken ground over here for the area like that, and then I can do high ground here, and now if I do the test, I can probably stand here, and it will probably allow me to see over this wall cliff here. Now there's a tree there, so the tree doesn't block line of sight still. You can see through line of sight things. But I can see here, and then you can see here, if I stand here, I can see the guy on top of the box, but I can't see things behind the raised ground. Okay, so that's how we do that. And then some other cool things, like if you want to do rivers and things, they actually have, let's do an example of how to do the river from scratch. Let's just go back to our map here. Let's get rid of this and make a river on there. So we've got river tiles, and typically the river flows, you want to make it flow consistently, right? So yeah, let's do it that way. Let's get rid of our deco and get rid of our grounds here. Okay, and then terrain, decos. Okay. Oh, you can also erase things you put on there by using this erase mode. That'll get rid of the deco. Or if you want to erase particular tiles and just have it go back to the default, you can do that too. You change the tile and this will erase the tile, put it as a default. Okay, and you can also control what gets painted by using this little drop-down box too when you're using the paints. All right, so this looks pretty cool, but doesn't have any kind of like river effect. So you want to grab the little river. No, that's not the river. That's the bar. Where's the river one? This guy, the coastline. There we go. And just put some coastline around it like that. And there's different pieces, so depending upon how you're angling or cutting the ground, you have to get a little creative with that. But there's a pretty good coastline there. And then, of course, we can do our little bridge. Oops, I have it on erase mode still. Bridge, and there we go. And so now we can cross the river, and that should work. So I can't go in the water. I can go across the bridge now, and there we go. And so now we've got some water. Let's see if we can. So I can trick this guy over. Oh, I found a bug. No. Not sure why I did that. Oh, you know what? I didn't save the map first. So the AI is not aware of the changes I made to it. It still thinks that the map is in its previous state. Okay, so now I saved it. All right, start game. That's important to know in case you come across that. All right, if you're going to play against the AI, you've got to save the changes first. All right, I'm getting you guys. Dumping in the water. Come on over here. Come on. Come forth, minions. Into the drain. Alright, so there you go. And then to get back to the map editor, you can either hit the reset level button here, or you can just go to save and exit game, and these buttons here should exit back out to the map piece here. And I believe that is all the different features that you'll be working with for the arena here. Oh, we didn't talk about the super large maps. So this map editor will actually support maps of any type size. You can create custom maps by using the new and then just giving it a dimension of whatever you want. Let's say we make it like 20 by 20 as an example, and we'll make the default tile cavern so you can see it. All right, so there's our massively huge map. Now, while we can support it in the map editor, I don't advise it. Because there's going to be constraints for things like mobile and and even desktop. You don't want to have things super small, and the map's too big. It creates lots of balance issues. And so I have some guidances on the size. I would recommend sticking to one of these 4 sizes here, with the 2x2, the 9x13 being the largest size map. But if you do want to play around with this, another feature of this is you got to also control the border. So this tells you what if you have a grid like this, what's the border around it that's not playable, that just kind of acts as the decorative background you can kind of decorate. So if you say like 3, it'll put a 3 tile border. Now you can see the preview here, and you can see if I zoom out, that's got this area all shaded out. So that's the non-playable area, and you can of course show that by tinting it like that to see that that's the area that's actually playable. This is just decorative border. Okay, and that's how you create those. And yeah, so down here I have some examples of maps I tested, and they just seemed like they were too small for playing on phones or mobile. But then I've got my 2x2 map. So this map's pretty big. This is the 2x2 9x13, but with a 3 area border, you can decorate around it. And you can see in desktop how this will look in the preview mode when you're actually playing it. That's your actual area there. You can also change things like the aspect ratio, the orientation, and see how it looks on different devices to get a feel for that as well. Okay, let's go back to the portrait and terrain. Let's see if there's any effects here. We talked about the weather. We talked about the paints. Oh, of course, the very last important thing. When you're done with your map, I'd love to have you share it on Discord so we can take a look and see what you created. You can go ahead and just take your favorite screenshot, any orientation you want, hit this export image button, and then you type in the name of your map or your picture, my map, and that'll go ahead and save a screenshot of your map from in here. And then I can also, if it looks good and like, hey, we want to put that in the game, no problem. What you'll do then is use this data string here and hit get, This will create a string that represents all the data in the map, and then you just go ahead and Control A C, copy, and then paste that to me in like a DM or something like that, so that doesn't clutter up the Discord. But then I can use that to actually import it into the actual game definition, so that when we release the next update, we can include some player created maps. All right, that's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed it and have fun creating.